This year, the most important event will take place in the United States, the presidential election. Last year's election was very scandalous, and this year is expected to be a political show with a lot of provocations. What energy does Indian fortune teller ARCHENA see for the U.S. in 2024? How will the elections play out? And could unrest in Texas escalate into a full-blown civil war? ARCHENA is an Indian beauty queen and fortune teller. Against tradition, she married an immigrant and found her calling in spiritual practices and clairvoyance. She grew up in a well-to-do Orthodox family from the highest Varna of Brahmins, where it was customary to strictly follow tradition. Thus, her parents planned to marry their daughter to a cousin, but she saw from childhood how cruel Indian men treat women and dreamed of a different fate. At the age of 19, the spectacular brunette was noticed in a cafe by a representative of a modeling agency who offered the beauty a contract. So ARCHENA began to participate in professional photo shoots and beauty contests. In 2016, the model became the owner of the national title Mrs. India and represented the country internationally at the Mrs. Universe. Over time, ARCHENA learned to go into trance and discovered the gift of clairvoyance. ARCHENA is also a Mahari, a temple dancer who performs classical Odissi-style dances. ARCHENA feels a very raw and heavy energy for the United States. She shows the approach of severe hardships that have not been seen in the history of this nation for a long time. What difficulties await America? This energy is very reminiscent of the energy backdrop of the First Civil War. It is an energy of division, savagery, and vandalism. All this energy is already clearly felt over the USA on a subtle level. The energy of division has already occurred on a psychological level within the USA. 25 states have signed up for the state of Texas. They are ready to support it in its disobedience to Washington, and no one will be able to stop these processes, including Trump. He has a good chance of becoming president, but he will not be able to calm the American people and extinguish the flames of confrontation. It does not matter who wins the election or who becomes president. The chain of inevitable events has been set in motion. No one can change the fate of the United States. What must happen will happen. The process is underway. The situation is slowly heating up. ARCHENA sees that many American public services will be attacked by cyber terrorists. The country will be flooded with streams of refugees and migrants. Also, America will suffer from many diseases that are airborne. Hospitals will be filled to capacity. Powerful riots will increase in the country. Crime will increase. Many banks will go bankrupt. People will rapidly become poor, lose their jobs, and lose their homes. Friends, before continuing, please support our channel with your subscription and likes. And also do not forget to leave a comment after watching this video. Thank you. The collapse of the super giants, and even giants like BlackRock and the Vanguard Group, which control 80% of all global finance, are in for a very powerful collapse. No one is expecting such disasters at the moment, but ARCHENA sees huge disruptive events, and inevitably, they will happen. A very powerful economic crisis awaits them that they never expected. All their financial stability will fly away like dust. This destructive Mars-like energy, militant, fiery, aggressive, will sweep away their prosperity. And it will be so strong that it will be impossible to rebuild again, because their foundation was built on false foundations. All this collapse will be accompanied by a lot of grief and worry. It will lead these giant super companies to internally divide into many parts. This energy is very impulsive, and it is already in full swing. The financial collapse of the companies cannot be stopped. It will definitely happen already this year. The top managers of these companies still think that they are going to grow and prosper steadily. They do not even realize how close they are to the edge and are on the verge of disaster. ARCHENA sees that no more than 5 or 6 banks will stay afloat, and the rest will collapse one by one. The temporary success, due to the fact that all the large production facilities that have fled Europe are now in the US, is a temporary effect, a postponement. The crisis will happen anyway. A riot, senseless and merciless. And even long before the election, we will see large-scale protest demonstrations in the United States, the likes of which have never been seen in the history of the country. There will be a huge number of all kinds of scandals and ugly and dirty compromises. The energy of internal aggression is rising within the United States. The society is in a state of disengagement. People are already divided into at least 2 parts. Some are committed to family values and want their children to grow up in families with mom and dad. Others support non-traditional relationships, change the sex of themselves and their children, and promote all kinds of deviations. Yes, there are many bright and kind people, highly spiritual and enlightened people living in the USA, but even their joint efforts will not be able to save the country from the collapse brought by the forces of darkness. According to ARCHENA, the United States will be divided into 4 parts. It will be 4 different countries. The US is entering a very difficult period of crisis for them, but it's all for the best. Somehow, all these trials lead to development. Biden or Trump? It is hard to say who will actually win the election. All the presidential candidates are still unknown, and some dark horse who is still in the shadows could easily win. Judging by the candidates who have already announced themselves, we can say the following. This is going to be a very tough year for Trump. The Democrats will do everything they can to put a stick in his wheels, to bring more and more accusations, to do everything to remove him from the electoral distance, to throw mud on him, to stop him in every possible way. But according to ARCHENA, the energy of victory is on Trump's side. As for Biden, he has already completely discredited himself. Nevertheless, he is going to run for the presidency again because he is counting once again on the help of the deep state, which he has always received. What will come of it? ARCHENA says Biden's patrons will continue to do everything they can to keep their puppet in power. But the energy of victory is not on his side. Too ridiculous and helpless, Biden has lost the respect of his electorate. All this pre-election squabbling will eventually rock the protest campaign and civil war in the U.S. It does not matter who wins, Biden or Trump. The fate of the U.S. is sealed. ARCHENA warns all countries that are America's satellites that from this year they will have to rely only on themselves. They will no longer be able to get help from the U.S. The power is leaving America and nothing can stop this process. That's it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and stay tuned to our channel. Put likes and participate in the discussions. More videos coming soon. See you soon.